Mike,
No.
That should everybody have done.
Oh, we're started.
it
I gotta.
Here. It is.
Yep, I got you.
well,
Are we recording? Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Watson, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. If everybody will stand, recite the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Here.
Brad Godecker,
Here.
Deb Hendrickson,
yes.
Bill,
Here.
Josie Cook.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Are you going to come and get it?
Invocation, Carmen.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask for your guidance and wisdom as we conduct the business of the town. Watch over us and help to guide us to make the best decisions for the town tonight. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you. Questions, concerns about the agenda? That's it all. Deb, team, Brad, team. Agenda of the day. We're gonna go to conflict of interest disclosures.
All right. I understand we have quite a few today, and several of those are due to relatives being part of the town. And before I get on that, look through here. Like they have been sorted out through. Three that appear to not be family related closures. So I'll start with first one, Carl Nartzer, firefighter, town of Whiteland, Johnson County. He's disclosing that he relationship with Summit Response Group LLC, no contract currently. But apparently he anticipates there could be a contract between that company and the town. He's vice president of technology, this it looks like. And Summit Response Group LLC conducts training for public safety professionals for a fee. Currently, they do not have a contract with the town. This was in the last
12
months package.
Yeah. Because we put one on hold.
And it has been signed. Sir, Mr. Dated February 7th, 2026. Being that there is no contract, I think technically it's a little premature based on what's expected with the form. However, it's not a bad idea to at least get it out in the open and the public that he's considering or might be interested in this, and in case there would be a conflict that would need to be disclosed. I would suggest that at such time as there is a specific contract, that be presented again with that information included.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no harm in accepting this as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. You gonna go through all the rest of them, or,
You tell me how you want to do it.
well, did we catch you off guard? If we got that, we want to kind of circle back around towards the end to give you a little time to. You tell me, it looks like 1, 2, 3.
Well, I can tell you that I have not reviewed each of these.
There's 9 of them.
The only one that I have reviewed is.
Okay. How about we just circle back around and give you a little time to meet.
That's fine.
So on the first conflict of interest, do you have any questions at all? Do we want to go ahead and
That's up to you.
Okay.
Pleasure.
have a motion to approve that conflict of interest since there's no issues at all?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second for Carl Knartzer.
okay. Quick roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Fred Godecker.
Yes.
Deb Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Sikos,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
5-0.
Okay. 2026, questions, concerns at all? Everybody was here last month.
I'll move to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Brad and Joe, quick roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Fred Godecker,
Yes.
Deb Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Sikos,
Yes.
Richard Hill.
Yes. April 14th voucher packets. Questions, concerns, Deb, did you have any? Anything? Tim,
I have none.
yeah, Mr. Brad?
I do.
Motion for voucher package for approval.
I'll make a motion.
Debbie, second,
I'll second it.
Mr. Brown. Quick roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Fred Godecker,
Yes.
Yes.
Joe Sikos.
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
5-0.
Any third financial reports? Bring us up to speed.
On the screen, you'll see the general fund balance. If you have any questions, let me know or I'll go. You ready?
Could you just read the balance? Cause it's kind of far away, a lead for me, please.
Absolutely.
And I even have glasses on.
Okay, the general fund balance is $1,267,500 $267,583.44. The general revenue is $97,120.85. And the general dispersed $379,171.58.
Okay.
The sewer operating is $1,396,207.97. Sewer revenue, $168,284.06. And sewer dispersed is $123,622.66.
Thank you.
Sewer improvement is $1,905,469.31. The sewer revenue is $210,050. Sewer dispersed $28,656.85.
And interest? You have interest?
I do, I have a cumulative of all accounts
That's fine.
at the end. Do you want me to go straight there to interest?
Yeah, just the interest total.
Total interest is $34,916.69 on all accounts.
Okay. Thank you.
The water operating balance is $1,140,274.18. Water revenue is $192,146.46. We dispersed $108,532.19. Water improvement, $946,510.50. 27,000, and water dispersed $2,999.30.
Is that all? Okay. All right. Thank you. I apologize for the interest. I thought you were done, but
I was gonna do that at the end.
I. Any questions for Jenny at all? Okay, thank you. Old business, Carmen?
So just an update on Stone Municipal, the supplemental agreement is now complete. There are still a few outstanding items that his team is working on, but they will not be billing us anymore. So that is, we are officially into 2026, so your appropriation report are the 2026 numbers. There are still some things that I've found since we did transfer into 2026, just how we're paying certain things. So we split out health insurance into departments, and that had not been updated on how we were paying the invoice. So I've got to go back and rectify that with Michaela. There were a couple other negatives that I was able to find and were quick fixes that I had Michaela do last week. We did not get new appropriation reports completed, but just so you know that we are aware of the negatives that are showing there. There are some that are showing in the other, and those were quote unquote adjustments that Stone made. So it's unfortunately it's a typical thing that we continue to see throughout the years of reconciliation within our county system. But like I said, Stone has completed that, and now he and I are working on the items that were part of the main contract that we continue to have. He and I have identified what are those tasks that we feel like if by the end of the year that can be transferred over to the town's responsibility to then back away from what that monthly original contract of the $9,000 a month. So some of that is setting up the policies and procedures, handling. He's going to help us through another budget cycle as far as, the long-term planning and capital projects and such. But what are, some of those tasks that he can transfer over to us to ensure that we feel comfortable with moving forward. And again, just to back away from what we're paying them monthly. And it may happen sooner than the end of the year, but we've kind of just tasked ourselves with a few of those things just to back away from.
Carmen, is your intention to, when we go through this and it kind of transitions over to eventually, will they still be on the payroll in 2027, 28, 29, or is the goal to kind of clean things up and then transition out 100%?
So
Your
I would
thoughts?
say that probably not 100%, because anytime we go to do a utility rate study, we do need that financial consultant to assist us with it. So that's one of the things that he and I are looking at, is to make sure that the sewer project, the Chadlow relief project, and then we've talked about another water, a second connection point to Indiana American Water. We've talked about those as some here in the next year or so projects we'd like to tackle. And so he and I just talked again about revisiting our utility rates, just to make sure, if you recall, when we did the sewer rate study, it did not show at that time that we needed to do a utility rate increase for the sewer. But also, just as a reminder, I've already started talking about in 2028. So next year is the last of the 3-year incremental 6%, point whatever percent, for the utility rates. But I've already started having him look at 2020 in preparation for the beginning of 2028, that we have some sort of like a cost of living adjustment. I say cost of living, but on our side, the cost of doing business, just so we're not going to have these larger rate increases when we, go 10, 15 years without a rate increase. So he will still need to be on the payroll to do those types of things. If we ever look at doing investments, we've talked about an investment policy, things of that nature. So, with his skill set as a CPA and those types of things, we would still keep that, but we would be able to either at that point go to an hourly rate or look at like a project-based type commitment. So.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, so, and I had asked him, if we were to reduce down what we're currently doing down to an hourly rate, he said it would well exceed that $9,000. There are a couple of other things that they do just to keep us in compliance every year, but those are billed separately through the patch bonds and things of that nature. There's some certain Emma. I don't remember what the acronym stands for, but he has to do some certain
Yeah,
reporting and stuff. So those are billed a little differently, but
It's common, excuse me, it's common practice for a town to keep them on staff. That way, in case we do run into a problem, they take care of it. I thought it was. Thank you.
do you know what year we are on, Patch? What year are we on?
well, we closed the first phase 2022 and the second phase was 2024. So
And those,
4 years, we're in year 4 and year 2 of phase 1, phase 2.
okay,
Okay,
Any other questions on that?
no, thank you. Appreciate it. Local government, that you did, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just, I sent you guys an email with an update to local government services and what was billed for January. We billed 5.5 hours. That was to do like the 100R assistance with Department of Revenue filing W-3s and some additional reporting for internal controls. February, they billed 6 hours for a total of $1,086.53. What was accomplished in February is we reviewed all of our financials here. They reviewed that with me. We did the W-2s, and each of the consultants, Susie and Janet, they bill separately. So we will have another bill for Susie when she assisted me with our W-2s and our 1099s. So we are under the 20 hours that council approved on a monthly basis. We are not doing the reconciliation for January and February. Stone has agreed to continue that, just January and February. Now that we've rolled over 2025, we can do those reconciliations. And Kristen with Stone Municipal Group is working on January currently. After we get January and February reconciled, Michaela and I both will work with Susie from Local Government Services to assist us with the reconciliation process moving forward.
And that, when we spoke, that thing you were waiting on corrected from the, I guess, the bug fix, you were able to get into that database and do whatever you need to do?
Yes.
Is that progressing in the positive direction?
That has been completed. So the
Okay.
annual financial report for 2025 has been completed and submitted to the DLGF. The fix, what was happening is there was some transactions for 2025 or the beginning balances for 2025 did not match reporting. And so we had to have Keystone create a bug. During that bug, they deployed it into the system, created a function. I don't know, I'm not technical for that stuff, but they corrected the beginning balances for 2025 so that Stone could reconcile the rest of 2025, correct the annual financial reports, and then I submitted those to the DLGF. So that is complete.
Okay. And you feel that you're getting what you need and
Absolutely.
kind of hitting a reset and we're progressing forward, right?
Absolutely.
Everything's good? Okay, fantastic. Good to hear. Okay. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Water tank required preventive maintenance proposal. Is that Steve?
Good evening, everybody.
good evening.
So I got the clarity on the cost per inch of sediment. And if I had read this a little bit closer, it's up to 3 inches. There is no additional cost. They stop at 3 inches because then it becomes an hourly based job. $300 an hour. There is no change order without any approval. They won't just go do it. They will a whole nother scope and everything if we wanted to go that route. Based off the inspection report, 2 tanks we're looking to clean out are less than 3 inches.
Cool.
I've got a question about this. My thoughts are, we're still working on fire hydrants and stuff, and we've spent a lot of money out. My opinion, these tanks has been this way for a while. I do know they need maintenance, but I think we could push this off farther down the road to help focus on getting the fire hydrants and getting things in since the new position with you and everything. And kind of push it off because we've spent a lot of money here just recently on trucks, vac trucks, fire hydrants, all that stuff. I would personally, I think we ought to back it off for a little while because it's been this way for years. Our company, they're going to have their own safety devices to get up there and stuff and take care of whatever they need to do. But it would just help cushion everything. To me, I would feel better just waiting on it because there's not a problem yet, but it does need to be done. And I agree with you 100%. But I think, in my opinion, I'd like to see us push it off a little bit.
And what I would like to point out though is this quote is only good for another 10 days.
I know, but you know, they'll do another quote.
That was,
Yeah, they'll do another quote. And that's the whole point. I mean, we've spent out a lot of money on hydrants
Where,
and a lot of money on bad trucks. So that's
where are we at on hydrants? I know that was a big push, or at least I was pushing
we got
that.
4 pairs back in service so far. I can touch on that now, or I can touch on it when it's.
Let's do it now. And so like I want to hear, okay, so we got 4 back in service.
4 back in.
How many are in the plans and
We just
what's the
did-
timeline on
We
those?
just did an exploratory dig for the big one on Pinedale. It's gonna get 2 back in service to be able to do the inserter valve. So we had to do an exploratory dig to confirm pipe size, pipe material, because that differs on the inserter valves. So that was completed today. Week out on delivery of the inserter valve. Getting after it.
That's 4 out of 10, right?
there was 10 bed hydrants. He's got 4 done.
That's good. It's almost half.
So 4 are back in service functional, 2 exploratory dig, that gives us 6. What about 4? Where are we at on?
Well, once we can go do an assessment, if we're still doing valve hunting, trying to find the valve. A lot of it's in the old areas. Our current standard now is every hydrant's gotta have an auxiliary valve. All these ones didn't, and then we also require now that they put an inline valve at the intersections. They did not do this for the subdivision. They're sporadic. We have found ones that are not documented on any paperwork anywhere, and we found it by hitting them while digging.
You are finding these valves. Are we paying someone to do it or are we paying you to do
It's
it?
us.
Okay.
It's us.
What subdivision?
And back in the day, and I'll vouch for that, they didn't put a lot of valves in. They didn't put a lot of valves in for hydrants. It's just how life is. But like I said, as long as we're not paying someone to search for them, and we are, and when we get the new vac truck, that's going to help speed processes
Yes.
up too, because then you can pothole down to them and figure things out, and then you don't have to dig.
So when you're talking about a valve, we're having trouble locating a valve. We want to put a valve in to shut the water off to put the hydrant in. So we're having trouble. Why are we having trouble locating the valve?
The line over the years have been damaged. I don't remember the exact year that's went in.
I thought we were getting all brand new or hydrants and stuff like
The
that.
valves are separate from the hydrants themselves, so these existing hydrants,
Okay,
they are tied directly into the T. There's no auxiliary valve, which results in a total main shutdown, along with resident notification, sequential boil orders.
so hypothetically, what happens if we can't locate the proper valving to replace the hydrants?
That's where the inserter valve comes into play. It's not a cheap endeavor, but it's the last ditch effort. I want to try to exhaust all resources before we go that route. But at the end of the day, if it comes to it, we got to drop an inserter valve in.
Okay,
We have to.
so what's your timeline on pulling the trigger on not finding valves and then having to go to the insert a valve recommendation?
It varies from hydrant to hydrant, area to area. I try to search a little bit every day. Got backed up on some other things, but I'm out there searching when I get a chance, trying to find, consulting the old maps. I'm calling old operators who were once in this position for the town and, early 2000s and everything like that.
Are you gonna do the insertive valve yourself?
No. So we do not have the equipment to do that. That equipment's like $500,000. I'm definitely not going to be able to justify that to this council.
Okay,
Uli, Range Line, they do it. They got all the machines. We hire them. That way, if it takes a hit and they bend the main, it's their responsibility to fix the main. and they pay for it if they damage it. That's how you get by with it, by having them insert everything. My question for you is, now are we looking ahead for the future when, like, say, if you see that there's a street, what's got a valve on this end, but not on this end, but you need to replace the hydrant in the middle, it'd almost be best to put your hydrant down on this corner, shut that main off and put people on a boil order notice and put a hard mechanical T in there, because that valve's going to serve you better to shut that main down if it's ever hit.
Yes.
And that's thinking ahead.
Hydrants, insert valves are going directly on the hydrant. They will be on the main lines at intersections where we use them to shut down an entire stretch. Because the goal is, if we have to do a full main shutdown, to impact as few residents as possible.
Correct, because we all know that we found out whenever we get a main break in Park Forest, everybody loses town water. I mean, I've lost it at my house several times, and it's because we don't have proper valving. We've run into it in our jurisdiction too, so.
All right, so I have a question for you. So
Yes.
with regard to this project, the tanks and the maintenance, would that project impede you from continuing on in the fire hydrant process? Because like you just dictated that, you know, some of your schedule and what you had going on.
It would be up 1 to 2 days. I don't see it causing that big of an issue with it. With regard, if we can, you know, maybe I've got something that's come up and I need to go tend to it. And I can call Armando to come be with the crew, watch over them, make sure everything's being done right. Or if they're down at the sewer plant, that's just wheelhouse. So I don't have to technically be there if he's there.
Yeah, right.
So it won't tie me up to the point to where I would put it to the back burner myself. Just to get it done.
Well, technically, if you hired this company, they should have their own inspectors on site, certify everything. Pictures, everything. Once a company walks into a water tower, we walk away from them. We let them take full responsibility of it, that put something in there or say something wrong, and then it puts us liable because companies say, well, you know, your guy said this. So when we do it, we just hand it over, let us know when you're done. And they fill out reports, pictures and all that too.
All right, so that leads me to my question of why the delay? And so what would then the time be that you propose that project gets started? Or is it a financial issue? And what financial numbers do you want to see in our water operating or water improvement fund that necessitates now we start again?
Right. And I've been thinking about this a lot because we have spent a lot of money. And my thoughts are, and I'm just one person. If you guys want it, that's up to you guys. But I think we should put it off until next year, to next budget, to do it and get this taken care of. It's not creating a problem now, okay? The moment we start cleaning it and this water starts pouring out, it could create some dirty water. We're getting ready to flush hydrants, from what I understand. So that's going to pull some out of there too. When you start flushing, you start stirring up more stuff. But my point is with flushing the hydrant, say we have to drop down a tower when this is going on. Now we're losing hydrant water, but now we're losing a whole tower of water too that we have to pay for. The citizens, and I'm a citizen too, we have to pay for that water loss. So many per gallon we'll have to pay for it. So if we got to drop a tank with 300,000 gallons, and then we done flushed half a town and lost all that revenue too, and now we got to drop that tank, it could be a cost. And that's what I'm concerned about, is just trying to do too much at one time with hydrant flushing, fixing hydrants, and doing the water, especially with Steve, no offense, but you're new to the position of taking actually full control. Kind of get him broke into where things need to be and how we could roll with it. And that's my only thought. I just didn't want to overwhelm our system.
Well, what if,
If I may, keep saying dropping a tower. I just want to re-clarify that all these tasks do not take the tanks out of service. So
But it can,
I was curious as to, maybe you know better than I.
but it can. It's happened because I called the company and talked to them, and it can happen that something could go wrong. Could find when you clean it, you could come up with a leak. I mean, when you're in there actually cleaning and getting all that stuff out there, it could blow a rust hole in it. I mean, that's the thing. They've not been touched. That settlement's compacted in there. So it's holding everything together.
what was the quote
My
again?
concern.
I'm sorry,
You want each individual tower, or you just want the total dollar?
just a total dollar amount. Since then, since you provide
Just
that.
as a reminder, not everything is the cleaning. So there's some
Correct.
OSHA compliant things that we need to do that we can address those. Gets postponed, I'd like to see.
Right, but OSHA, we're grandfathered in right now. Once we bring it up or we do any work on the tower, then we got to bring everything up to OSHA standards. Right now, we are grandfathered in because they can't technically force you to do anything. They can suggest it. OSHA can suggest we need to do this. So that's where I stand.
Richard, to answer your question, the total I have here is 30,440.
All right, I got a question. Jenny, would you be so kind as to pull up your financial reports again? And let's look at the water operating or water improvement fund. I would imagine this would be water improvement. Would that be?
Yeah, where are you planning on taking this money from? Which,
It should probably technically be operating because it's something we're supposed to be doing on a regular basis as part of your operations.
Okay.
But that balance is over $1 million.
Right, so would you click on that?
We would
one
have
for
to
me?
probably do another additional appropriation, but I would prefer to take it out of operations.
Because it's operation. This is what it is.
All right, so have we currently pulled the money for some or all of the fire hydrant project? And that also probably come out of water operating?
Hydrants come out of the improvement.
Okay.
Because we're looking at
Like 180 grand or something.
$15,000 per hydrant with everything in there. So that is coming out of capital improvement.
Okay. So
No, that's not
our
a-
current balance on water operating is at its highest point in the last year. It looks like pretty stable revenues, generally speaking here, month over month. So like, I mean, I guess if we want to delay, then, like, is it a dollar issue? And what is the dollar amount that we would want to see in here? Because from my quick look, it looks like this would be an appropriate project to take on. And from his, statement, this isn't something that would be very time intensive on his part. Like, I mean, if this is something that's going to improve the system, much like we don't want to delay on the fire hydrant project, I mean, that's something that's going to improve the system. So, I mean, I would just want to get documented, what are the dollar figures that you would want to see then to have you on board with this?
That's the thing. I've not really, I'm just thinking of spending money out, especially if we're gonna spend it, we're gonna have to be good stewards with it. I mean, we're pushing it out, we're doing this, and I understand we got a lot, but one major leak can chew up a big budget pretty quick, especially if it blows 31 up.
Yeah.
Especially if it blows Whiteland Road up, especially if it blows out there. It can kill that budget pretty quick. And I just don't like it to get, I don't like to get too many projects out where we're spending a lot of money just in case there's a problem that we can't handle. I'm just saying, with everything going on, I feel, just from my experience of being around water, and like I said, I just think it's a lot to put on our system right now with flushing and everything. I don't even mind putting it off for a couple months.
What day? I mean, I'm trying to hold you.
And I'm fine with this.
Before up here, now's not the time. And like, that's kind of almost what I'm hearing. And it's like, then when is the time to do certain
When
projects?
I feel comfortable for it. I don't feel comfortable for it right now, sir. So that's what I'm explaining. If you guys want it, I'm only one person. You guys can make it and give it to him. I'm fine with that. I'm just suggesting this is how I feel as a water gentleman. What works with the water, with us throwing a lot of money out with flushing and everything, I just don't want to rock the system. Because I hate when we lose water over in Park Forest and I can't take a shower at my house. That frustrates me.
I think it may be reasonable to potentially, I have to agree with Tim. I mean, do we really want to have our hydrants and we have a problem, and then we do this and there's a problem, and now we have to, is it gonna hurt if we delayed it for a couple, 3 months until we had the fire hydrants up and operational and that's done? Then get another quote and then start that when we know that would that be a reasonable ask?
I mean, as far as hurt, the only thing.
Would that be a reasonable ask, Tim?
See it hurting is cost is going up on everything. So I don't know that it may go up a couple grand, it may go up 10 grand. I don't know.
And we don't know that. That's why I'm saying, I'm just giving my opinion, but if you guys would like to make a motion, you're more than welcome to. I'm just stating what I'm thinking. And like I said, wait till next year. You want a date? We can give a date. I mean, I don't care. I'm just saying right now.
Hey, I mean, seriously, I'm not saying anything you're saying is unreasonable. However, what I do think is unreasonable is we're going to the trouble of doing things. There's not like a hard defined reason not to continue on this project of improving the system, other than kind of like gut feeling. And so it's like, okay, but I respect your experience in the space. So I'm like, then let's get an actual date. Because like some of the stuff that we've done in the past, well, that's just now's not a good time. And then it never gets brought up again.
Oh, it'll
And
be
so
brought
like,
up.
I'm saying, let's do it then. Let's say August 1st. I don't know. You let me put you out, let's get on record and let's get it then.
Hydrants will be done.
Yeah, let's get
That's
the
the
hydrants
big-
done.
When is,
Fair.
Yeah.
We are shooting for no later than fall. It's a matter of coordinating with the contract.
at October, maybe
Being able
October,
to,
December?
Now we're talking about the replacement or we're talking about the flushing?
He's talking about replacing the hydrant.
The hydrants, making them functional.
Repairs and replacements.
Flushing happens no matter what,
We
but
can repair them.
Well, I think the goal for repairing was, I threw out kind of June-ish year.
I'm hitting both of them where I can.
Okay, so you're talking overall repairing and flushing the system through kind of an October-ish type of time frame.
The flushing. Armando and I still need to speak about that on manpower and availability, because we're not just going to flush. We're actually doing the maintenance on the hydrants that's been neglected for decades.
Okay.
So, they're getting oiled, they're getting cleaned, they're getting painted, they're getting, NICs, hydries on the threads. So that way, when the fire department goes to it, yeah, we flushed it last month, now the cap's seized up. Now they can't get water. So, you're adding extra time per hydrant than just flushing. I can't give you a hard time on that.
But you can give me a hard time on fixing the repairs though.
That's the primary focus is to keep
Correct.
it back in running.
Yeah, exactly.
You want a date, sir, October 1st, bring it back in, or our October meeting, how's that?
Yeah.
Is that fair enough? Bring it back in October, they'll vote on it,
It's wherever you all.
and we'll go, and I think that's what I would feel comfortable, but you guys, like I said, I'm only one person, you can vote the way you want.
Tim, I just want to understand what your concern, what I think what you're saying is you're concerned about kind of the shock it could put on the existing
system.
system.
Correct, because once we start flushing and stuff and you're putting that hammer knock back in every day, that's when pipes. Okay, when you shut down a hydrant, and we've worked with the fire department in our area, when you gotta shut them slow, because if you hammer them, and some of these hydrants are stiff, you don't mean to hammer them, but they still hammer. They could blow that main apart. We've had it happen. I mean, that's the thing. It's just a lot to ask during flushing season.
I'm familiar enough with some of the old systems and
Correct.
having towns.
Right, and that's all I'm concerned about is getting a problem when you're right in the middle of getting contractors fixed up for flushing. We have a problem, we're losing water in the town again, and then all the residents are upset because we blow the main over here in an older edition, and then it kills all the water all the way around because we don't have a lot of valving. We've seen that once when the tornado hit, and we've seen it once the contractors hit that main in Park Forest. It killed my water over here, and I'm far away from you guys. So, I mean, that's my concern, is just trying to keep the water safe.
All right, so you can, whether that means like August or September,
When's our meeting?
company again and have
Refresh
a
your quote.
quote so we can look at it again in October, assuming we're ready, or if you
They don't cost
for
us.
some reason we wouldn't be ready, you can do that. That'd be great.
What did I say? Oh, October.
Awesome. Okay. Does this sound reasonable or no? Okay.
I was trying to find our meeting.
We're gonna focus pretty strong on getting the remaining hydrants, and then after the 10 are done, we got to put together a plan on all the rest of them. Is that, are you thinking about that at this point, just juncture, or is it just the focus of the 10?
I'm jumping in with the contractor's availability, and, you know, if they have a crew that can come up, we can get that pre-scheduled because it's more moving parts, or, you know, their hydrant guys working on a job in Franklin. And if he can pop up with me for an hour and we can get one back in service, that's what we've been doing.
The one in Park Forest, around from Armando, around, what is wrong with that? I mean,
The operating nut, I have it. I just haven't had a chance to get the contractor back up here.
The top nut on the valve.
Yeah.
so it's a nut issue that is,
I have it. It's a $600 part.
okay, that seemed like a quick fix, doesn't it?
It is.
It is a
It
quick
was the
fix.
same fix that we needed for the one in Briar Creek.
Okay, well, I mean, those seem like those could be kind of expedited pretty fast and put back in service, right? I guess my concern is Franklin just had a huge fire. And it was reported over 750,000 gallons used.
Uh-huh.
We don't want to make that headline.
No.
So
Oh, got it.
whatever it takes to get these back in functional and operational, and if it's a quick fix on a nut, you need some help, call me. I'll come over with my tools and help you out. I mean, seriously.
You're just replacing the nut and the top cap, correct?
It's a Kennedy.
Yeah,
I've done one Kennedy, 2019. This one's a 1990 something.
right. That's not too
They're-
terrible. They're awkward to work on, but once you figure them out, they're not bad. It's just getting out. And I looked up the date, Brad. It was October the 13th is our next meeting. That when we could, if you want to get a date, that's what I got on my phone.
Sounds reasonable.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
New business RDC 2025. Is that Carmen or is that Jim?
Steven?
Stephen.
I'll let you do it.
Okay. RDA is pretty much the same thing, maybe. But at the RDC meeting, we did go over that. So we did, I think it was emailed out to you, the revised one. There was just a typo on it. But the redevelopment commission, the members are Tom Carroll, Amanda Trimble, Ryan Webb, John Venter, and David Hawkins. Non-voting school board member is Kent Beeson. And I want to just highlight a couple of the accomplishments that we've done that we accomplished in 2025. So just as a point of reference, our fund balance beginning January 1st, 2025 was $1,435,000 ish. 436,000. And then we received, so we're just now getting to over that $1 million a year. We've hit that threshold. We were, maybe cumulative, we were getting close to that. But revenues in 2025 was almost $7 million collected. So in previous years, redevelopment commission was officially kind of started it was 2006, but then it was kind of brought back in like 2013, 2015. We really didn't start collecting revenues until here just recently. So primarily our fees that we were spending out of their expenditures were legal fees, financial advisors. So we really just started being able to do projects with these. We've got a couple of key projects that we did this last year is the RDC paid for the town to have transfer switches installed on all of the lift stations and the water towers, booster station. And then as part of the tornado relief dollars, we were able to purchase a pull behind generator. So transfer connect for the pull behind generator to then connect to if we would lose power at any of those places. They did make some very large commitments to the fire department in 2025. They bought extrication equipment for the heavy rescue, getting rid of the heavy items, making these more easily, to manipulate when the fire department needs to use that, as well as Lucas device, which performs CPR for the when the fire department needs that, CPR is very strenuous on the human. And so this device does that. It also kind of tracks. So then when they put them in the ambulance, get them to the hospital, they can pull that report to show the chest compressions and what the body's, how the body's responding. So in 2025, some of the engineering fees are related to some road projects of which are underway now. But we spent a total of $465,760.20. Our fund balance is $2.67 million. So you can kind of see that there. Deb mentioned the patch phase one, so you can see there what the TIF fund balance, and this is where Stephen can kind of chime in, because there is that split of the amount that comes to the town, but then we collect all the money, then we pay the patch bond, and so on and so forth. So there's a surplus, or there could be a surplus from years. And then on the patch phase two, you can see that one's not as large because it just closed in 2024. That has the maturity date of those patch bonds. And then there was just some of the verbiage of all the different things that we would do. The redevelopment commission also has already committed and purchased in 2026 a new police car for the police department, which they just received a couple weeks ago, as well as they've committed to paying for a generator for the fire department. And there's, again, road projects. We've got some design and engineering that they're helping to subsidize for us. And so anything else I should add, Stephen? Any questions for me?
I would note, just for the record, that the annual report includes, because the statute requires it, a listing of all the individual parcels within each of the different districts. And the annual reports have to be uploaded to DLGF along with the parcel lists in
Gateway.
DLGF's specified form through Gateway. And in reviewing and working to finalize that list, there was a question that came up in my mind as to whether or not all of the lists were for pay 2005. What I'm really getting at is there may be a correction in the list when we file it, but I can't tell you for sure.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure it's as accurate as we can
Do April 15th?
tomorrow. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
All I have on that.
Do we have to vote on that at all? Or
No,
no, that's just
no.
informational purposes?
Yeah. But the statute does,
Require reporting to us.
yes, requires it to be provided to you in paper, or you provided a copy. And it's supposed to be presented to you at a meeting, which we just did.
Okay. And you'll check the correction before it's actually filed, or
We'll verify that the parcel list is correct.
okay. Right. Thank you. Whiteland Video Year in Review, Carmen?
Actually, I don't have the video to show you, so Jenny's gonna pull that up, and then I want to do a quick year in review just to share some highlights.
Really?
Very nice.
It's a good show.
That took a little longer for us to get accomplished when we were waiting on the community engagement part, which was the Fall Fest, and with that getting postponed, well, Summer Fest, but it got postponed to the fall. So Aaron, Warren, got together and does that video for quite a few communities. He's already asked if he wants us to go ahead and start something for 2026. We've not been as in tune as other communities to do one every year or even multiple videos per year, because he does a great job and that costs. But it is something that the last time that was updated, if you look on our website, we didn't have but one shovel going in the ground out there and 0 of those warehouses. So just since that last video that was done in the 2019-2020 timeframe, but specifically for 2025, I put together and I put a color copy of it on your seat, at your seats, just because I thought it looked prettier, more visually appealing, but just some highlights I wanted to touch on for 2025. Obviously, we're already 4 months in. We're waiting on getting our financials taken care of. We did end up with a surplus of our budget of over $4.5 million. I didn't provide for the last 5 years, but just in last year, we had a 34% increase in our assessed value over the year before. We were the highest, fastest paced growing community in Johnson every year. In the planning and zoning, we adopted a new comprehensive plan, and then the Parks and Rec master plan was just submitted to DNR Friday of last week. So that'll be some more planning that's coming forth. We issued 324 total permits, 74 new homes, single family homes, 8 villas, and 158 apartments. Also 177 code enforcement violations. We've already reported on police. Derek and Julia did a great job in January, February doing that, but I did just want to include them in this report as an encompassing the whole town. The fire department, you all approved a new fire truck, 3 staff vehicles. They had a 21% increase in their run volume over the year before. Where that is significant is when I've talked with Eric, what he had said is Station 201, which is Bargersville's main station, our station had more runs than Station 201, which is a full-time fire department. So just keep that in mind as we continue to see an increase in runs and such with the fire department. On the backside is Public Works, and I've asked some of the Public Works employees to come tonight just because we are a small operation, but we get a lot of things done. As I mentioned in the RDC report, we did purchase a pull behind generator, the transfer switches, to get that taken care of. We also did complete the GIS mapping of our water and sewer infrastructure. There's still some things on the water that we've got to just validate. They didn't do pipe size and things of that nature. So as we're out doing those things like today, we determined that it was a 6-inch pipe going into when they did that exploratory, so we can update that on our GIS and put it's a 6-inch pipe. On the storm and flood, Brian does a great job with his monthly inspections. He does 100 total for the year, did 167 inspections, but so it wasn't 167 monthly, but for the year, there was a total of 167. We had 459 rainfall events, and that's not that we had 459 days of rain. It's of all of the sites he inspects, that was the total. So we had to do 459 inspections there. We had 51.6 inches of rainfall tracked, and then about 20 inches of snowfall. Our community cleanup event, we collected over 3,500 pounds of recyclables. And then he also does our floodplain administration, and we had 4 parcels abated. Street projects, we did complete the community crossings project here on West Street and Pearl, the main overlay, and then adding stormwater infrastructure on those two roads. And then did some pothole repairs and over 100 loads of leaves collected. Now, I asked the guys for this, guys and gals, I asked them for this like in October-ish. And so they had not necessarily been tracking. So we're going to get better of tracking these kinds of stats, just so you guys can see that. We are working on the Bob Glidden and Whiteland Road project, which was a redevelopment authority lease rental bond of $2.4 million, and that is underway. On the water, we treated 156 million gallons of water with an average daily consumption of just under 430,000. Completed 757 work orders and this was a new one that Steve sent me after I'd already put this together. 4,118 811 tickets for the year. So that's about 16 tickets per work day. On the sewer, we completed the interstate lift station, which is out. That was a READY grant, which was basically the shovel ready project. So we got some of that funded from state dollars as well as private donations. It is a stat. It's not a stat we like to see, but if you look at our capacity, it's about 76% capacity. That is something that, again, as we kind of continue to come to you and say, we're going to need this project, we can't kick the can down the road anymore. So, but just to give you kind of those 2025 numbers, and then, like I said, we work on a small, we're learning, we're not the well-oiled machine, but we work on small workforce, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So, you know, we do planning. Brian does our stormwater in our floodplain, and I asked Brian to come tonight. Normally he doesn't come to the council meetings, and I'm like, Brian, I want you to come tonight because he goes to his own stormwater board meeting. Our public works is Armando, heading up with the laborers, Aaron Doty, Dakota Jess, John Martinez, Troy McLean, and Todd Stogsdill. Sewer is Jesse and Andy, and we do have a new person, but this is 2025 data, so Andrew didn't make it on here. And then the water is Stephen, and then all the firefighters as well. So just wanted to kind of say kudos to all of us that we only have 31 full-time employees, and of that 14 are the police department. And that's not a bad thing. We need those. But just so you guys know that we do work on very little manpower and try to accomplish a lot. And I feel like this team has done tremendous with all the changes we've had.
So when Stephen does his projects, who does he help? Who does he get to help? Does he get?
So what we do is on a daily basis, they come to Armando. We do I usually just go to the Monday morning meetings, but every morning it's okay. What's on the game plan for today? What's, you know, for the Monday, we kind of, what's coming up for the week? Where do you need to, so he can kind of divide and conquer with the laborers and such. And then if things come up on that every other boarding meeting, they can say, hey, I just had a huge locate ticket come in. I'm going to need some extra manpower. And so they kind of pivot as they need to throughout the week. Or if there's an unfortunate infrastructure failure, we won't, it's just like when you say snow, so, if we have something that is kind of an all hands on deck, that is something that we kind of, again, we have to make some decisions on the fly, but every week they kind of have their marching orders to start, and then things always pivot just depending on, say somebody calls in sick or somebody has a doctor's appointment is out unexpectedly, or if there's an emergency situation.
So there's no plan for Stephen to have a second.
We did approve for that. We did approve for that, but we still haven't technically quote unquote departmentalized our laborers. So it's kind of, everybody's on call. So we want kind of everybody to be diversified, but we do have that in the position in the budget to hire another laborer for this year.
For strictly the water.
I feel like he should have his own person.
Correct. And we have talked about that. It was one of those things where there were two reasons. One, let's get into the budget here. And as a suggestion from Adam was, if you don't have to hire right away, don't. Just delay it a little bit, just to save a little money in the budget. And then also was, Stephen and I have been chatting and just show me the need that we need this extra person. So.
So you'll make the call when it's necessary
Yeah.
with all three of you, all three of you.
The labor description for the water, and we'll look to post that here probably in the next week or two. So, but we made it through first quarter without, but now it's getting into the seasonal where there's a lot of projects that could get done, so it would be good to bring somebody else on.
Hey, Carmen, oh, sorry, did you?
Go ahead. You do the first.
I was gonna say, if this is not on the website, it needs to be. Okay, and the video.
Yes.
Because this is good information to have and share with the community, because this is pretty impressive to see.
Well, they don't have a clue what we do.
Yeah, they have no idea what anybody does or what you accomplish and stuff, so
Know everything. Yes.
get that out.
We will. And that helps tell our story too, or the economic development of it when we're attracting companies. That's the video is more like a promo video.
Yeah.
It's gonna replace the one that's on there now.
Replace the one that's on the website right now.
You know,
So-
and something else too, you might even, sorry to interrupt, but even if you could like add like a little excerpt, did you know, like on the water bill or something, fun facts or something?
Have all kinds of.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Facts we can share. And then
This
that's one other thing,
this is good information.
and just to kind of talk real quick, as soon as we post something that's out of date. So we did have a suggestion from a resident to add a community resources. We still have tornado resources up there. So we did update that to community resources. If somebody has a question about how do I pay my bill, or, who can help me financially for XYZ, or, I just need, I'm a foster parent now and I need resources and things. Whether they go to it or not, I mean, we can track that, but, we're just not the best at keeping our website up to date. Because like I said, as soon as we update it, it's out of date. The other thing is that, we try to use social media, but then we end up getting trolls that get on there and say kinds of comments that you don't want to reply to, or you do, but you shouldn't, so you don't.
And then it gets out of hand.
No, I look at towns and counties and cities' websites every day, and Whitelands is not, is up in the top 10%, I'd say.
Visually, it's great. The data might be a little out of.
Just being able to find the information, be able to find the contacts. I spent 2 hours trying to find a contact in a county in Kentucky yesterday that I still don't know who to call.
I just asked a community, where do you post your live stream, your videos? And I'm like, well, that was not very easy. Yeah, correct.
So the question I had, you alluded to it earlier that looking up a second connection point for Indiana American Water. We've been talking a lot of water. Well, several years ago, we had talked about, done some studies with regards to drilling and trying to tap a reservoir and stuff. Pardon me for not remembering. What all happened with that? Is there anything happening? Is there possibilities there?
So there was, I think it was probably in 2024, it was after the tornado. Slim had the crew that we had worked with before come out and because when we had the wells tested initially, the timeline that they used was very short, and then they gave us a report on what was in the water and what we would have to do to then make it drinkable and so on and so forth. So in 2024, we had that company come back out and run the tests a little bit longer. And I don't know, did we ever get the results back?
Yes.
Okay, and so I don't remember exactly, because I kind of tried to step out of that. But the one thing that if we do look at doing self-sufficiency, it is on our long-term plan, is to look at self-sufficiency. That's going to take a lot of capital, and Tim brought this up the last time we kind of talked about this, to treat the water. It would be a significant cost to the town to do that. And so it would just be at what point, we've got the sewer project that we need to kind of look at, not saying that it gets put on the back burner, but what makes sense for us in our, for the water utility? Is self-sufficiency something that we can goal for, 10 years down the road, or is it needs to be punted out a little bit further? So I think we estimated over $30 million just for a treatment facility. And then that would require more manpower. And You know, and so, and not saying it's easier because we can still, from Indiana American Water, you know, continue to get rate increases and things of that nature as their infrastructure costs go up. So it's kind of one of those things where we need to, you know, we're going to continue to investigate it. It's just going to be very expensive to do.
Yeah, okay.
So, and then the other thing is that, you know, you would still want a redundancy of some sort. So we still may never get rid of the meter to Indiana American Water, because if something happens and the wells go down, let's just say for whatever reason, our equipment goes down, can't not have water. And so that's where we would still keep like probably at least, well, right now we only have 1 meter with Indiana American Water. The reasoning I'm talking about the second connection point is to create like a loop within our system, or to have 2 water sources, one more out that would serve just the industrial area, and then the other one that would serve more of the residential part of town. So that's it's a smaller project that we actually just met with Indiana American Water maybe 2 weeks ago to talk about what that would look like. Because they're interested, of course, it would help to, you know, get us more water. The contract is still under negotiation. We actually, again, we kind of paused on that contract, but we need to get the new contract. And so, like I said, we revisited with them about 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
And Brad, Carmen also reached out to Bargersville to about dialogue and socializing the connection point too. So there's a lot of different things that will in play with that reservoir and testing the water and American Water and connect with, you know, Bargersville. But I don't know where all this is at, but there was a lot of moving pieces during that discussion.
Okay, yeah, I just, like, when she said that, I was like, oh yeah, I don't know where this stands.
Forgotten it.
Okay.
It's just not on the short list.
Yep.
Of priorities.
Understood.
My only question is, I've been kind of peripherally tracking this permit fees restrictions.
Yeah,
in the
that's
state.
hopefully coming next month.
That was my question.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you worked here, you wanted to increase the.
Yeah.
So just so you
That
guys
was
know.
2017?
Yeah, yep. So House Bill 1001, which is now House Enrolled Act 1001, really has put some restrictions on what we can do here at the local level when it comes to our building permit fees, how we go about that, and it was retroactive. And so we're still digesting some of the impacts and implications. So right now, if we were to make, I think we have till July 5th on the permit fees, but if we were to make a permit fee increase, of which, Billy, how much does the building department get for a single family home?
So a standard single family home usually generates about between 9,000 and 9,500. The actual building department side of that $9,500 total, I capture roughly $500. I can't tell you what the percentage is of that, but that rate is still the same as the late 90s of what we charge in the town.
So the key thing that is just very interesting that the legislature made this a priority, because they had said that local communities are we're taking too long to approve permits. We're 7 to 10 days. It's not us here in Whiteland. It's probably not any of us here in Johnson County.
Yeah.
But we all get to kind of reap the punishment from this. And it was pushed by the builders, by my board, for this to pass, and it passed with flying colors. And so our ability to increase our permit fees, we do have an option. We will continue to have an option, but we'll only be able to do it per like inflation. But we haven't increased our fees in almost 40 years. Okay. So now if we do get fees increased, right now it's 90 days before they can take effect. The new bill is 180 days. So by the time you pass something and then you implement it 6 months later, you're probably ready to feel that pain again. The other cool thing that they did that is just so great, and we don't know how, we already track our building permits, is we will have to submit to the state on an annual basis how many permits we have issued, what we've collected. And the other cool thing is we have to pull that money out of the general fund and make their own building fund of which those revenues can only be used for the building department, which is kind of leads into why I was departmentalizing a lot of things the last few years. Now you see the $360-some thousand. That is not going to happen every year. We had the large apartments come in, both Redwood and Allure, that we're not going to necessarily see that when we see the building permits. Right now, we collect $35 on a fence permit and $75 on a concrete. And so we're very minor on what we collect, and we pick, that. So this year, or last year's budget, we did bring in more revenues, but I wouldn't say that we would be over, the 300,000 probably for much longer, unless we look at increasing those rates.
I don't understand the annual thing because we submit every month.
We only submit single family homes to my board. What we submit to the county is for the assessment.
It's an annual report to Indiana Housing Authority or in someone else. It's in relation to affordable housing.
Right.
What?
But we're already submitting how many permits and how much.
Send it to the county. Now we have to submit it to the state.
Oh my gosh, why can't they submit it to the state?
You don't want to.
If that's for us. But the other thing.
There's some
thing
other reporting other than just numbers. They're requiring to.
The one thing that did not pass that was in the original legislation was the ability for local units to be zoned. They were going to take that away because the whole thing is what Joe had said is affordable housing. What is affordable to me and what is affordable to each and every other person is totally different. Affordable and attainable are totally different things. And those are the key terms, the buzzwords that are being passed around. But I'm going to tell you right now, if the Builders Association and the builders were pushing this, the only people that are saving money are the builders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I'm going to tell you right now, if we only collect $500, they're not going to reduce their lot fees by $500 because that's what it costs to build the house. They're not. And so this is a smoke and mirrors kind of thing, and it passed, and it's going to make everything affordable. We'll let you know how that works out.
Local zoning is something to watch out for next year.
Yeah.
It'll be back.
Yep. So I digress. With a little comedy. Yeah.
Already.
WCHS Phase 5, Billy,
That's unique.
you back here smiling. You're next.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here to present stormwater waiver request on behalf of Crossroad Engineers. I've asked Eric Snyder, who's the acting engineer for the Whiteman Community High School, to be here as well. One caveat I'd like to point out, Crossroads did go on behalf of the Johnson County Drainage Board prior to this and received approval for the same waivers. We have the same standards as the county. So it's just more so a formality when you go in front of the county drainage board to come in front of you all and ask for the same request. It should be within your package showing that the Johnson County Drainage Board did approve of the 3 waiver requests from Crossroads. I've also asked Mr. Snyder if he'd be willing to put a presentation. One of the things with me is I want to put things in layman's terms, everyday common language instead of the technical side of things that sometimes professional engineers like to speak on. He has provided that. He is more than happy to go through that PowerPoint presentation for you guys with the specific waiver request. The first one is for pipe cover within the site of the high school. Our standards require a 2-foot of cover. That can't be maintained due to topographical restraints. But the system's private. It's not like it's the town of Whiteland storm pipe that we're talking about. This is privately owned by the high school. The other 2 requests start talking about the detention basins. 90% of max volume restored within 48 hours. And then the second one, 10% of max volume restored remaining at 48 hours. Again, very technical things. Another caveat to this is we asked Commonwealth, who is our outside engineer, to provide their comments back on this. You should have that communication in there as well. The Commonwealth would be in favor if the waiver is granted for what the proposal is from Crossroad Engineers. And if you have technical questions, that's why I've asked Eric Snyder to be here tonight. He can answer all the technical.
It's the same as it's always been with the school. I mean, they've had to have stormwater waivers before.
I believe this may be the third time
Yeah.
throughout the phase of, it's a 5-phase project. I think 2 of the other previous phases. Again, it's a formality. We have the same standards as what the county does. County always meets before the town council meeting does. In all 3 instances, the county drainage board has granted the waiver request
Yeah.
for it.
All due to downstream constraints for a ditch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it goes to the county before it comes to us, right? Does it go to the county before it comes? Yeah.
And they basically approved it, and that's part of this.
Yeah, they approved it, I believe last month.
Bless you.
Can't remember if it was last month.
Bless you.
Right here.
March 2nd, final approval.
Yeah, March 3rd.
Yeah, because it's their liability. It's not the town's liability.
It's a little bit of
A
both.
little bit of, I was gonna say, it's not.
Get in our pocket if something happens.
Right.
They're not.
Just keep on saying it to yourself.
But like I said, for the technical side of it, Mr. Snyder has a presentation. If you would like him to go through with the presentation, he's more than happy to. Outside of that, it's your guys' call as to whether or not you grant the waiver request tonight. Again, like I said, Commonwealth is in favor of what they proposed, granted that the waiver is confirmed tonight from you guys.
I'm good without it. I know what they're
Anybody
talking
else have
about.
any
I've dealt
questions?
with it before.
Yeah, we've already,
Brad, you got any questions?
You're the MF4 operator, right?
I am.
Highest elected official.
Highest elected official is,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all you.
Maybe I should see this.
Your
PowerPoint.
name's on this stuff. You
Yeah,
get-
I'd like to see the PowerPoint then. I'm kidding.
That's what that pay raise is for.
we're demoting you. I make a motion to approve it, the waiver.
I'll second.
Quick roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yeah.
Fred Godecker,
Yes.
Deb Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Stickles,
Yes.
Richard Hill.
Yes,
Pass 5-0.
thank you. Thanks for attending, sir. You can send us that presentation if you want to make it worth your while. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Can I add something real quick, just how these stormwater waivers have now continued to kind of come before you all due to us adopting what IDEM required, going back to House Enrolled Act 1001. IDEM is now having to relook at what they approved and what they requested all of us government entities to approve to match what the state wanted of the 0.3, the release rate. The release rate had to be a set amount. And so IDEM required all of us to adopt the same standard. And now because of this affordability, again, to the builders and developers, they're asking IDEM, and that's part of that bill as well, is that they have to go back. So then if it's going to be an additional cost to us, if IDEM then repeals their release rates or adjusts them or whatever, because we've adopted that same protocol. So again, just how that one bill could cost the town even more money. So
Yeah, we need to redo the stormwater regulations. Give me a call. I can help Bill. Yeah.
perfect. Okay. On to the next item. This is, some of you may remember, we talked about it, a few years ago. And we had a proposal with GRW engineers, and Deb Lazier, who was an employee of GRW at the time. She no longer works for GRW, and that's kind of a skill set that she brought to the engineering firm. It is something that I've challenged Billy, like, we need to get going on this. We need that unified development ordinance, which brings our zoning code together and our subdivision control ordinances together, cleans up some of the language. It's kind of a template that she has. It's kind of, we can put our own spin to it when it comes to the zoning, what we want, what we don't want. But it is kind of just the standard, definitions and again, just taking the two ordinances that we currently have and merging them together. GRW has provided us a release letter from that commitment, that proposal that we had participated in. And we're asking for you all to consider us entering into a contract with Deb Lazier and her new company, Code Crafters, which would be paid from our local income tax, the LIT or edit money, which is where that was appropriated before. We would have to do an additional appropriation, but we would like to engage with Deb to have that taken care of before anything else happens at the State House that then impacts what we're able to do or not to do at the local level. So it is $60,000. And like I said, Stephen did get back to me. She had just a couple things on the professional services agreement that we typically use as our kind of template. Just because she's a one-man show, one-woman show, and she's the only employee, so the workers' comp kind of thing. And so Stephen did get back to me and say that those can be adjusted for this particular agreement, just because of, it's a show of one. So would ask the approval that we could proceed with that and take any questions.
This is much needed. I think I tried to do this way back when.
2017.
That's a great price. That's a great fee.
And if you help,
For
you
you
cut
deal.
that in half, right?
I don't know. I know Deb. We have lunch occasionally, and I don't know if she'd welcome that.
She did do the county's UDO, and I was on that committee with Deb projects and such. But she did rewrite the counties. She was on the committee. She was not the entity, but she and I were on that same.
So what do we get? We get like updated ordinances?
Yes, so
Like-
our current zoning code is 1970.
So in the seventies, Purdue University put out what was called the National Zoning Code. And almost every community throughout the state adopted it. And that's what Whiteland is basically operating off of currently.
And things have changed, how we do industrial development, what would we want? And in our comprehensive plan, we talked about, I guess I'll call it an overlay zoning or a more restrictive zoning in a particular area. We've identified 2 areas in our comprehensive plan to put an overlay zoning on US 31, on Whiteland Road in our quote unquote downtown, just to further restrict and bring what we want, not just here's C1 and these are all the things you can do within C1 zoning. Not to be too restrictive, but again, I think that the coming together with the common definitions and language, it was approved before, it's just moving to a different vendor for that amount. So.
Carmen, a couple questions. So electronic copies like PDFs, all that, we'll get all of that
Yes.
to where we'll be able
Make our own
to
amendments,
make our own amendments with no additional charges, right?
right?
Okay, and is that in the contract language that we will get a hard drive?
I believe it is.
Okay, and then the timeline is 12 months for completion? Is that, or what does that mean?
It really is left up to us because she did provide us with some of the chapters and then it kind of, the tornado hit. And then we never really got our feet off the ground on that. So I think we could probably work through it a little bit quicker, but there would be it took the county, it took us close to a year to work through the different chapters and get the feedback from the committee members and then go back and then they had to go through the adoption process of coming or there it went to the county commissioners for adoption and such. But it wouldn't necessarily have to take a year, but we've been sitting on a current proposal for 4 years.
Okay, my next question is, we're gonna do like progress payments on results and timelines and so forth. We're not just gonna give her 60 grand and then we should itemize that to where there are certain criteria, certain thresholds, goals and objectives, then you release payments.
And I can clarify that with her. She just put the total cost. She didn't request progress payments. So I can clarify with.
I think that protects us if we have something in place.
We do that. We wouldn't do a deposit up
Yeah.
front. It would,
Okay.
as the work is done, if she feels like she's at 50% completion, and then, And so we can ask her about the billing. How she.
Can't invoice us for a whole project if it hasn't been done,
That's what I'm
pay
saying.
per invoice.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's how,
she tracks her like
Yes.
estimated hours and this is what it would be for, even though it's a lump sum.
I would just feel better if you had that in writing. So. I'm sorry, I'm wearing my purchasing hat today. Yesterday was a realtor, today is.
Maybe 60 is not to exceed.
And there were a couple other things to add on, but at this time I don't, like there she puts the fee schedule review and update. If we want to have her do that, we've had about every planner that's worked here create their own fee structure. So, and then, you know, we borrow ideas from other communities. So go out to their websites and download what are they charging and kind of go from there. So I think we can handle that.
yeah. Do you need an approval tonight?
Yes. Find the
I
contract.
first before you'd like to put that into motion, I imagine. Is that what you're thinking, Richard? Put that in the motion, or did you want to?
Well, I think that like the electronic copies, hard copies, progress payment, not to exceed amount,
Right.
kind of in the emotion or in the motion.
But it's,
When you say hard copies,
Well, I'm just saying like
Not giving payment at one time.
whatever she's
well, you
writing,
can't,
But, you know, he was concerned.
a PDF, electronic, hard copies to where we can manipulate, to where we don't have to go to her.
An inevitable product.
Yeah, inedible,
that's really what you want.
correct. So,
And, you know, what's most convenient is if it's in Word. What she uses or not, but something that's editable certainly.
And we have PDF converter if we needed to, but we can ask for it in a Word or
yeah, just some
File.
highlights. Yeah, just to cover that. It's,
it will have to come before you all as adoption of an it will be an ordinance for you to adopt.
I just don't want her to retain the rights and then we have to go to her and she charges $50 an hour to make an amendment. And so I'm just trying to cover my bases.
50.
I agree.
So with saying that, do we have a motion with on the table at all?
Tim's furiously writing it. I know he was coming up with something.
No, I was just trying to mark off what I needed to ask. Debbie made the motion, but she didn't put all the stuff in it first.
I didn't make a motion,
You did earlier. You said I'll make, but we'll make a motion
not for this.
to accept this. Help me out, sir. What would be the best way to do this?
Motion to approve and authorize the town manager to execute the proposed contract, subject to it including that work product would be owned by the town and be provided in a format, electronic format that can be amended by the town in the future. And that payment would be made according to progress work as it's been delivered.
And not to exceed the quoted price.
Ditto.
So be it.
So be it. So moved.
There you go.
We have a second.
Second.
I appreciate it.
Quick roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Godecker,
Yes.
Deb Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Seiko, Richard Hill.
Yes.
That's 5-0.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks, team. Tim. HWC Engineering.
So this one is a memorandum of agreement for engineering services. Every 2 years, we have to submit to the Indiana Finance Authority our water loss audit or water audit validation. We collect the data every month, water billed, water used, and water lost. And then there's this spreadsheet we input the data into and are ready to submit, but it has to be validated by obviously, we do not have an engineer on staff, and so the request is to have HWC, who's been primarily our water engineer, to help us with validation of the water audit. This is July of 2026. So it's $1,500, and we would ask for that to be paid for from the water operator.
The question. We don't do net 30. Probably need to,
They
I
know.
always tell people.
At least 45.
Yeah.
But if we get. You can pay 'em.
sorry, I'm gonna leave my purchasing hat at home next month.
You can.
And that's, and they know that, but we will make that adjustment or request that that's acceptable. I always tell them if they get it to me the last day of the previous month, I can get it in the voucher packet. But or they send it to me on the 1st or the 4th and then they get paid in 45 days.
Sometimes in the fine print, they like to add 2% in.
Oh.
Past day, then you're paying more than.
WC.
So,
Other firms, yes.
I make a motion to approve the agreement with the 45 days.
have a second?
I'll second it.
Debbie and Tim, quick roll call, please.
Brown,
Yes, please.
Goodacre, Deb Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Stikos,
Yes.
Richard Hill.
Yes,
That's 5-0.
thank you. Etika Group, that you, Carmen?
It's your favorite topic. We talked about it yesterday. So just for a quick refresher, on the street garage building that needs to be replaced from the tornado, we had engaged with Commonwealth engineers to assist us with project management, helping us with the design and engineering for the building. And you all agreed to that contract in the spring of 2025. They did do the foundation, and that even took a long time to get the changes to the foundation approved by the insurance company, because they ended up going out and doing sampling of the soil and determined that the foundation cannot be reset on that without helical piers. And so again, last spring, you all approved to enter into a contract with Commonwealth for $80,911 to assist us with the building and the foundation. Key component of building a new building is we have to have our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Can't build a building, well, you can build a building, but you need facilities and you need electricity. So that was missed. And then after the structural part and the new foundation with the helical piers was put in there, I was getting verbiage back from Commonwealth saying we're out of money. And I'm like, for the buckets of which they would build. And so we kind of were going back and forth. I was talking to insurance, knowing that we were without mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. At the beginning of this year, I reached out to Etika Group, who was the architect that assisted with a lot of the structural and then the foundation contractors. And I have had conversations with Commonwealth. Armando and I have had conversations with First Onsite, who's the contractor that will be doing the work. We've had meetings with Etika, First Onsite, Commonwealth over the last month to basically say, how do we get this project off the ground? We've got to get moving on this project. And so I went back to Commonwealth and basically had said, I'm not going to ask for more money in your proposal, but what can you do? What is our out of this proposal? Because if you break the proposal, you technically owe them that money. Dale Gick, who lives in the town, is on our park board, was able to go to his owners and just kind of have the conversation and say, can we release them from what is left of our contract, of which is more construction administration, and have Etika take that over. And then within Etika's proposal, we've added the design and engineering, design and engineering for the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, as well as the construction administration, the inspections and things of that nature for all of it. So I got today the release letter from Commonwealth, which is in there. We had owed them an additional $21,638.27 of the key items that they had not billed yet, that construction administration and then some of the inspections was rolled into the Etika proposal, which is the first 2 pages. So what is needed to get this building to the finish line and approved at the state is $45,000. So again, we're not going to have to pay the $21,600 to Commonwealth. That's rolled into this $45,000, but that gets us our mechanical, electrical, plumbing. They are submitting to the state for us They will help us with the inspections, the helical piers, the structural engineer will come out and check those when they put those in. And this technically will all get covered under insurance, but I can't engage with them until you all approve me to sign this agreement. And so, like I said, it will be reimbursed with insurance. We've talked to insurance and said, you know, we've got a different solution for this to get us to the finish line and get this building built. If you can sign it tonight, and Stephen did get back to me right before the meeting, some of the revisions that Etika had asked in our professional services agreement, he felt that they were all agreeable. We're gonna have them kind of retype it up on what they want, right? Is that what you,
Right.
I briefly looked at it.
Make modifications
Yeah.
to those sections that they had some concerns over and provide it to us for our review.
So what I'm asking tonight is pending legal review of these modifications that we can go ahead and get this signed, and then let me pass it over or anything. That the idea of the timeline is 4 to 6 weeks for the mechanical, the design and engineering of this submittal. This is extreme. 6 weeks for design and engineering, 4 weeks to wait on the state because we're not going to pay an expedited fee to get our approvals at the state. And then we should be ready to put a shovel in the ground for the going vertical on July 1st. We've already talked to First On Site that they're bringing equipment out this week to kind of set the stage and get the demo finished up to where we can get started. We've got our foundation release, so we can go ahead and get started on that. We just need the approvals to go vertical and again, get some of that with the under slab plumbing. You'll want, you know, we need to know where the plumbing is going to go and some different things. So my request tonight is to be able to engage with Etika and pending legal counsel approval on their professional services.
What is on the actual contract of building, the building, what is that part? What is that number?
The amount?
Yeah, to build the building, because this is like the,
They did it in quote, and that's what we had First On Site come out, do the exact quote, then we sent it to insurance and they've paid us for that money. I can't remember off the top of my head what that amount is.
so Etika is taking the place of Commonwealth to do design and construction management, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Commonwealth was more just the project manager. They were the chess, the mover of the and
And why did we switch?
They weren't moving.
because I wasn't gonna give them more.
Oh,
Because they kept wanting more money to do things they should have done the first time. When you do,
I about it in the, we can talk offline. If I
don't mind talking about it,
no, that's fine.
call it what it is.
We know.
That's a not to exceed number 45. Have a motion on the table?
I'd like to make a motion for giving Carmen permission to sign this contract not to exceed the 45,000.
We need approval from the attorney.
Subject to legal.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. I was gonna look at him to make sure I said it right for him. His due diligence to make sure that it's all legal and then getting it signed for you.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Tim made the motion, second it, quick roll call, please.
Ben Brown,
Yes, please.
Joe Dicker,
Yes.
Yes.
Joe Secos,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes,
pass 5-0.
thank you, Carmen, for staying on top of that one. That was kind of tricky.
Been a long road.
Jesse, how are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
So Jesse, did you write this?
I did.
So I didn't know because it says thank you. in no name.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Put it-
I said, Carmen, who wrote this?
Yeah, it was for an overall look. As you can see in front of you, we're coming to you tonight to request to retire the old vac truck. It's been an excellent piece of equipment we've had for over 25 years. That's over 25 years old. We've had it for I couldn't tell you, it's a long time. And it's well beyond its lifespan. Our new back truck should be here really soon, within probably the next 3 or 4 weeks, I would say. As of now, it's not really benefiting the town to hold on to the truck. We can't use it, the tanks leak, it's got some hydraulic lines blown, some other things that we're not gonna put money into it. We're coming to you guys to ask, basically just to retire it and auction it off. And we believe that it's responsible and it's an operationally sound decision.
I agree.
Is there any apparatuses or anything like that could be taken off and utilized on the new truck?
There are a few parts and pieces that I'm gonna take off of it, nozzles for the jetter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Kinda strip it
outside
of
of that, not really.
And that we're gonna auction this or just take it to the auction?
I believe that would be the proper procedure. I'm assuming it would go, you get anywhere between 10 and 15,000 for it, probably, give or take.
Are we gonna send it to an auction place? Or are we gonna try to do a silent bid on it?
I hadn't really thought that far ahead, actually, but a silent bid was kind of where I was at, rather than paying someone to auction it off for us.
Auction.
Yeah,
That's where we send our truck.
Okay.
I was just
yeah,
curious.
I can look into it and see.
Oh, it's however you wanna do it. You wanna do the due diligence. It's a lot of work to do. Private auction.
Yeah,
And you'll submit I guess, the information to Carmen so we can remove off our asset list?
absolutely. Yep.
I just had to plug that in there, sorry. So we have a motion on the table to
Make a motion
remove this.
to remove. A silent auction or a auction house.
Appreciate
Is
that.
that good enough?
Yep.
Would that work?
Have a second?
Second that.
You second it?
Sure.
Appreciate that.
No,
Now, quick roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Ed Godecker,
Yes.
Richard Finn,
yes.
Jeff Petro,
Yes.
Richard Hill.
Yes.
Passed 5-0.
Thanks, sir.
We took it.
Oh, I don't typically like to do this, but we have 2 trucks of the new trucks that were approved to purchase at the end of 2025, ready to be picked up. But we needed an invoice and I didn't get the invoice until Thursday. Do you want this or let me give it to. The invoice wasn't ready until Thursday of last week, of which the voucher packets were already ready. Then I went through and I'm like, oh, Jenny, we need to encumber these or put the encumbrances that we did at the end of 2025 into the 2026 budget. And we just didn't get enough time. So what I'd like to do, we can either wait until next month and then pay for the trucks and pick the trucks up then. Or if we can approve, so you guys have already approved the purchases, I'd like to pay for these it'll be a mix of the water and sewer that was to be encumbered. So once we get that money put in, if we could go ahead and, I don't want to say pre-approve because we've got the invoice is there behind it, behind the PO. But to approve that the treasurer's office can produce a check and then we bring that voucher packet to you for signature or however we need to do that. At the next meeting.
Well, you're paying for these out of utilities. So the encumbering doesn't,
I know what we're trying to appropriate every dollar.
no, but I'm saying it doesn't apply to this, so you don't have to actually do anything with the DLGF and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying.
But we're trying to
Okay.
get better at the monies we don't spend in 1 year, we plan to spend the next year. I could have just reappropriated in the budget, and we didn't, but we were kind of at the end of the year scrambling to get some things done, and so that's just how we treated it. So either that or an additional appropriation, but those appropriation numbers are not in the 2026 budget, and that's why I said we encumbered it, but it didn't come through on the 2026 budget. But again, if we could go ahead and, you've already approved it, we've got the money, it just it didn't make it in the voucher packet, and if we can go ahead and get a check get this approved so we can get a check off to them so they don't have to wait another month for the 2 trucks.
And there's a good chance you could lose these trucks if you don't pay for them now. I would assume that they would. if
So they'll be in the
something-
voucher packet next month,
Yes, yeah.
or should she run a separate voucher packet for these? Because they're going to be dated, the checks are going to be dated.
Probably better to do a separate.
Yeah, the checks will be dated this month, not, I mean,
Yeah. And that was,
same.
I was gonna try and get a separate voucher packet, but when I went to go do the appropriations, the numbers weren't in there for 2026, so that's why we're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it a little different than.
It'll be, you do a separate voucher packet for these.
So, just again to verify, so all 193,000 that would be paid by the town would be coming from 100% from utility funds, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Just wanted to verify that. Now, as for paying it, kind of outside of the normal voucher process, I'm just a little concerned about whether we're going to be able to strictly follow or comply with the statutory requirements. What I might suggest is that if we can comply with those requirements, then you can proceed to cut the check and so forth. If not, then it'll just need to either wait to the next meeting or you'd have to have a special meeting. And that's probably not something anyone wants to do, but to comply with.
Could you put a hold on can you put a hold on them if we get complicated here?
Bill specifically for us. That's their holding cost. It's just that 2 are ready now and 2 aren't gonna be ready for another month.
And they need vehicles here now because their vehicles are lacking.
Well, then we wouldn't cut a check for all 4 vehicles then.
No, we're,
Just the 2.
it's just the 2, the actual invoices is all I'm asking for approval tonight, but a PO just kind of identifies where all the monies are coming from. For the entire, for the 4 vehicles total.
I think that's important to know if you have a voucher packet, we don't want to do a voucher packet for 193, you want to do it for 2. Okay. Yeah.
Well, what I was gonna suggest is you could run back real quick and do a voucher packet for 2 items.
Well, the appropriation numbers that are being used
Aren't inactive
are
yet.
not, they're inactive for this year. So that's where we kind of ran into a
They're in
little
there now.
glitch. Oh,
The
did you get them
I
in?
got the codes are
Okay.
in. I just don't have the funds encumbered yet.
We can send it negative
being
and then she can
negative.
fix it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's up to you guys. I mean, if that's a concern of his.
Here's some invoices if you want to go to about it.
Have the voucher packet.
I would-
Yeah.
Just for enough for 2 of them, so you need,
Just give her the 2 invoices. They're identical.
but,
I would
but,
just-
but what about where they're coming from? Did you tell her which ones to use?
Oh, she needs to.
Cause I just get them in here. Not me, because I've seen companies say they hold them.
Yeah.
And when you go get them, you don't get them. I've seen it happen. And they need trucks,
We need to make sure it's done.
right? Oh, I agree, but they do.
Piece.
Go for the dealership.
The only other thing that I wanted to, you'll approve the voucher, go ahead.
I'm looking at the statute on claims that be approved by a town. And what I was concerned about is that there's a 5-day requirement that the claim must be filed in the manner prescribed under Indiana Code 511-10-2 at least 5 days before the meeting. So, question would be, has the claim been filed in that manner at least 5 days ago?
So the date of the
4/7.
invoice was 4/7 and it's the 14th.
7.
7 days.
Can we count Saturday and Sunday?
Doesn't say no.
Well, 7 days is still 5 business days.
I need to tell her to put.
That-
So I think we're fine. with that.
That may be okay then.
Well, you should put today's date. It's the date it's- Okay, So which brings that back, we should be all right then, Stephen?
It looks like it. I'm just going through the section 12, payment of claims. See if maybe we can doubt it. Honestly.
Carmen, while he's looking for that, is there anything you
Yep.
want to go through this?
We just-
Circle back around.
Yeah, on the Brenner Ridge discussions, there was going to be a neighborhood meeting. It's been postponed. So I put in here in my town manager report that it was gonna be for the 15th tomorrow. It's been postponed as of for now. So, other than that, I don't have any else in my report unless you all have questions.
Thank you.
Been a busy.
Thank you for everything.
Mr. Cox.
Evening.
Hello?
As Carmen said, RDC purchased a vehicle for us. We've taken delivery of that. It's currently at the outfitters and waiting on the call pretty much any day now to go pick it up. We'll have that in service. RDC also purchased 6 ballistic shields, which came in this week after we actually somehow received a shipment of shields from Ohio for a correctional facility in Ohio. And they got ours. Somebody mixed the shipping label. So we just got those in. Working on training on those later this week and next week. Try to get those out in cars. So each shift will have, each rotation shift, day, a middle and a night, will have a shield available for officers for situations where they might need it or might not need it, but help everybody go home at night. So I was able to, I spoke before about the drugs that we had taken from the pilot truck stop, the cocaine. I was able to find a way, networking, making some phone calls, calling in some favors, and found an agency down south, about an hour from us. I don't know if they want to be known who they are, so I can't publicly who they are, but they were able to accommodate us, and we were able to destroy all that at no cost. So whereas, we expected it to be $3,000 to $4,000 at no cost to us. So I said, find some more and bring it down anytime. So
Very nice.
We're gonna try to do.
What kind of vehicle did the RDC provide to you all?
It's a 2026 Ford Interceptor, just like it's basically like a Ford Explorer.
Okay.
It'd be the same as the white Explorers we have around. It is a hybrid, so it has a battery component to it also. So hoping to see what kind of possibly gas savings we get out of that as well, and see what it does for us.
And Derek, you're providing the asset, the VIN number to the Carmen to track.
Yeah, they already.
We've already taken care of it.
Perfect.
That's
You guys are,
already.
you guys are on
I
it.
got the plate ready for it. Just
Okay.
that's all I have.
Appreciate it, sir.
I have one question,
Yes, sir.
and it's really for both you and Carmen. Carmen, you know that thing and that sheet you did in color and stuff? I know we got reserve officers. I would like to see their names on there too, because we do appreciate, and they are volunteer. So if we could get it where it says reserved officers and just call them, because they are town employees. Thank you. I get that, but
Because
there you go, 2 stars because it don't cost. I just think it'd be nice to recognize them for volunteering.
they donate their time.
That's right.
They don't have to do it.
I just think it's a nice thing to do for our reserves because you got to appreciate them.
Yeah, they put in a lot of hours. And Cameron, he's worked a lot lately. Brian hasn't been around. He's been out of state for a little while, but Cameron's probably, I'm gonna guess, put in 20 hours a week plus for the last.
And he has a family too that he's leaving to help us. So I just think it'd be a nice thing to recognize them. Thank you.
Good point. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, and back to that purchase. I do see that one of the categories for an advance payment that sidesteps or allows you to not have to comply with the 5-day rule is if there is an expense that must be paid because of an emergency circumstance. there's an emergency circumstance or not. But that would be one loophole. The 5-day rule seems to indicate that someone from the town is to have filed a claim form, signed off that it was a proper form to be paid, proper claim to be paid, 5 days before the meeting. So we may have received it, but did someone review and sign off on it?
I haven't physically signed it, but I did receive it. I didn't physically sign the invoice, does have a signature section on the invoice, but I did not sign.
Oh, and in the statute, it says only if the claim was filed in the manner prescribed by 5/11/10 to at least 5 days before the meeting. So, no, I'm being kind of a stickler here, but that is what the statute says.
I don't want to go to jail, so I'm okay.
So if we get a packet, we're not following the 5-day rule according to that section 510.
Right.
So we have two options. We can either call a special meeting,
Right.
right?
Called an emergency.
And meet for 5 minutes and pass it, or I don't know.
Can we
constitutes
call
an
an emergency? Because we could lose them?
I don't know if it is defined in the statute what an emergency is. I mean, that's something that might be able to be done if there isn't a specific definition of that.
But if we get audited, is it a true?
Yeah, we could lose it.
We have one employee that drives his personal vehicle.
Yes.
So that's
And
an
I
emergency.
think it is because he does use, because I've met him on site and I've seen that Jeep roll up there.
Well, two, then.
Yeah.
They both use they would be for the superintendents and when the service truck is out doing something and Steven's gotta go somewhere. We've got the Avenger over here, but like.
That's a hazard.
I don't think our insurance would cover their vehicle if they wrecked it in when they were on the clock.
Emergency.
So then it's an emergency because they can't be in a vehicle that's not registered town when they're 8 hours a day. That locks it down right there because we're putting them in liability,
You gotta
having them drive it.
Yeah, I would leave that to a legal representative to define that.
I agree, but that's how I would define it.
The second point is we can call a special meeting next week on availability. And if that's not too much trouble to people and not lose too much time.
Good with whatever.
Brad, you have.
Whatever he says to do, I'm good.
Maybe.
Do what?
I said I'm a maybe. I mean, if I can get here, I can get here. So I live close.
I say let Steven figure it out. He knows our concerns. If he says we can do an emergency, we do. If we don't, we'll have a special meeting. All we really need is 4, right?
3.
Or 3, excuse me. All we need is 3. If us can commit, then we can get it done as quick as possible.
We just need 3, then we could probably do it. So.
Do it quickly.
I'm fine next week, any day.
Give me, if you buy me dinner.
Good, any Tuesday.
We should have 4 if we have to do that.
Make more money than I do.
You're retired.
Mondo,
And buying dinner.
please come to the chopping block.
Good evening, y'all. Just a couple little updates. I know I said I'd keep you guys abreast of what was going on, and gal, I'll keep you abreast of what's going on in Buckland and the roundabout and stuff like that. So currently we still have the signs posted on or about or after the 16th, whatever, for the road closure. That has since shifted to the 20th for the actual road closure. There was, changes obviously with weather and or some utilities that were found after the fact, when everything had, the relocate had been completed. So it's been pushed back 4 days, but we still shooting for the same completion timeframe, right? So it's not really affecting the overall project. But as we progress, I'll keep you all abreast of that. Additionally, the DPW employees went out there and moved some barricades. We put some signage up there for emergency vehicles since we're gonna open up the south side of Bob Linton so that they can access fire and public safety can access anything on that side need be. We put signs up and remove some blockades and we got the gates ready to go. It's up for so. That's the update on that. Carmen touched on the building, but one of the other deal outs was the yard and the removal of some of the debris. So I've had two different companies, a local company, Alan came out and gave me an estimate. He's out of town right now or was heading out of town, so he didn't give me the actual quote. And tomorrow Carmen and I have a meeting with the contractor and some other folks. They're gonna give us a quote to remove all that stuff. So walking the yard, actually having contractors on site, we're looking at about 300 loads. I had estimated around 200 loads, but because of the material weight, it's exponentially a lot more. So to give you an idea, the fees for just the landfill disposal, for Allen, sits around 15,000 just for the fees to remove it. His full price was coming close to $60,000 to remove everything. Alan gave me a ballpark figure of around 45,000, and he would be able to do everything to include grading a lot, bringing everything back to how it is. So if anybody's been out in that area and you get on top of the mountains and you walk, it'll give you a kind of clear indication of how much material is actually back there, spoils and so forth, so on. And of course, the weight difference, because there's concrete, there's asphalt, there's everything else that has since exponentially, like I said, brought that load count up to 300. So tomorrow, I hope that we can get some kind of resolve as far as the second quote. And then once we have that, I'll get with Carmen and then, hey, how do we present that? And where can she create magic and move monies from? And if that's a project that we do. Additionally, we looked at, hey, doing it ourselves, right? And Carmen touched on it, DPW employees and the number of folks. The time frame that we had the first meeting and the first that this was brought up was February, time frame. We just couldn't do it. Anything from snow removal to just trying to keep daily operations. The fact that I don't have a street sweeper, we don't have a street sweeper, and if we're hauling material, mud and so forth, so on, we're going to create a bigger problem. So it's just something that right now is definitely not in our cards to do in the short term. And going to operators or employees almost full time to be able to move. Additionally to that, the site that we were going to be able to drop things off just was not accessible. It's just something that we couldn't get into, and that was going to be Alan Whitaker had a site for us to drop off, but we just couldn't get our equipment in there anyway. So just know that we are moving forward. We are coming with different plans and course of actions where we can go ahead and start getting rid of some of that. And if y'all haven't been out there, we have done a lot of movement. We have cleaned up the yard quite a bit. It's still a mess, no matter how you cut it. There's still way too much stuff out there that needs to be moved in. By that I mean spoils. But in preparation for the building to go up, we have since moved all the equipment, realigned everything out there, so it makes the access for the construction companies and so forth, so on, a lot easier. So that's the update on that. And then the last thing, pending your questions, will be the sheds. So all the sheds have since been removed except for one. The town's going to keep that one, and I will relocate that shed once we see what the construction and what it looks like. That'll get relocated to the street garage, but I will not do that till after the building is well underway, so that we know what we're playing with as far as real estate out there. Because there's some other things that Carmen and I envision out there, and that might impact where we put this shed. It's off to the side. It's really not affecting anything right now, but it's something that a phone call I can have Hannah move it pretty quick for us. Pending your questions, that's all.
The stage still up there?
The what?
Stage?
Oh yeah, the stage is up there. So that's the only thing that's left. Sorry, the stage and one shed.
Okay.
Yeah, let us know what you got with the other contractor on the price and if we can try to make a dent in it, at least attempt to on all those spoils, I think that'd be.
It's gonna have to be a phasing project, definitely.
It's important that we try to do something this year.
Absolutely. Just to give you an idea, the other company, just their dump fee per truck is $150. Their dump fee. So I already know that their price is going to be astronomically higher than what a local resident and like a business owner like that I'll do for the town. He has to make a living.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
But just the dump fees alone will far exceed, I believe, what he would charge us for the entire project.
Okay.
Well, I've got a question for you. And we got a piece of equipment, two pieces, what can do this? If we're gonna hire it out, our truck needs to run with it, because that's gonna cut costs. If we're not gonna use the truck, then we need to talk about getting it out, and getting a piece of equipment in that you guys can use either for snow removal, street maintenance, water maintenance, or anything, because that triaxle's costing us money setting. When you leave a diesel truck setting, big trucks like that, stuff starts breaking on them, stuff's not getting lubricated, you're getting flat bearings. There's a lot of ifs, ands, but I would say if we're not gonna use that, then you guys might think about something you can wanna sell it to get something in here that you will use, because a piece of equipment just sitting around is just costing money.
No, you're absolutely right. So Carmen and I had that discussion about, appreciating assets that we have. And that's not just the only one. But to your point, yes, absolutely. So when I talked to Alan, we would run our truck with some of his trucks. Right now, I say that, but also kind of want to reel it in and remind you, that no matter what happens, if something happens in the town, I will shift, efforts, personnel, because that only can be really truly 5 folks who do anything. So if I take one individual out, drive the truck full time to do runs, it's might not seem like a lot, but I'm losing 20% of my workforce right there and then. So, and absolutely. So if the availability of that individual is here, or that I can shift, because that truck's also manual. There's only a licensed operators. So there's more to it. So then there is a thought process.
But we have people here what can run that. I mean, that's the whole point. You have people here what can run that. You could take shifts. I just think to save the money on trucking, because trucking's expensive, fuel, diesel and all that. But if we're not going to use it, get a piece of equipment that you guys can use. You're talking about your snow removal, your salt slingers and stuff like that are all
Street
wore out.
cleaner.
Yeah, stuff like that. You could sell that and use that money to buy something like that. What's going to benefit us in the long run versus a triaxle or something sitting over there rotting tires and not doing no good. That's the only thing I think.
Valid point. And it's something Carmen and I have talked about. We have equipment out there that we are looking at and trying to turn that into something else.
And that's all I'm thinking, because I know snow removal is rough on you guys with the equipment you got. And I understand that, but it sure look good on our end. If you're saying, hey, we can get rid of this, this and this and bring this much money in, and it will help us get more if you could give us a little extra. The only thing I was thinking. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that, please. I know Eric's not here, but Fire, I apologize. Do you have anything to say, or?
He's just here for morals.
Okay, I didn't mean to pass you up. Apologize for that. Stephen, do you have any, or Jesse? Back again?
Yep.
Okay.
Just to kind of keep you guys apprised of what's going on down at the wastewater department. Wet weather inspections are continuing. They've been cameraing the lines. The CCTV is new. If the full list, we'll have to go jet some lines and camera those again. And then we'll get a comprehensive list of what lines they found and kind of what shape they're in and go from there. Also, we've kind of moved forward a little bit with the Chadlow project. Wessler has started engineering and surveying for the potential new Chadlow relief line. And then we're set to go to the school board Monday to present to them to get an easement on their property to run the line through there. Aside from those two really big things, I did have to file for a modification on our IDEM permit for wastewater to include pretreatments due to a company moving in to Gateway. So they're gonna have pretreatment, and in order for them to do that, I'll have to go out there and inspect and do some of those things. But that's in the works. It'll probably be 90 days before that ever gets. Aside from those things, the treatment plan itself this month. Find it, 'cause so I try to keep you guys in the loop on what the treatment plant did. So we had a 97.5 overall removal. Everything suspended solids, ammonias, PODs, which is really good. This is for the month of March. Remember, we had a lot of rain in March. I had 2 days at 3 million gallons a day. and we're rated for 840,000. So in March, we were at 129% capacity. 53.35 million gallons in the month. So for the year, that puts us at 93% capacity. It won't stay there, but that's getting close to that number. You get to the 90% mark and IDEM will shut you down. You won't be able to hook on for houses or anything that's in the works. It'll just be until you get the plant upgraded. Just have to wait until then. So just want to keep you guys apprised of the situation going. In my opinion, once the apartments fill, we're going to get real close to that 90% mark. So that's all I have for you guys. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
You have a projected date on starting on the sewer plant?
Not on the upgrades.
Well, if we do the relief, that starts a ban and then we've got to, expedite some things. So then we get ready to bond. So well, I mean, we're working on it.
You think, I mean, like this year?
Well, and we. You can
2028.
speak to it more than I can, but we have an oxidation ditch we might be able to use as a holding tank. But right now it has trees growing out of it. And so Lawyer is assisting us with getting that cleaned out and getting the handrails put back on, Maddox and things of that nature. So those things have been in progress. It's just getting like I said, the oxidation ditch cleaned out, get the handrails replaced, but we could use that as like a holding tank if we do hit that. But the whole thing is our permit. What we're permitted at is at
840,000. So yeah, if I may, the reason we picked the Chadlow project to move forward with first is because, and from our point of view, it's better to work outside and then back to the plant. With make sure our infrastructure is good out here and work back towards the plant, because if we can't get it to the plant, then the plant can't treat it. So some of those lines are going to have to be upgraded, made larger lines and so on and so forth. We have started with that project. We are moving forward with it. And then also we still do have the preliminary engineering report from 3 years ago that Wessler did for us. It would have to be modified probably a little bit to brought up to date and those kinds of things. But we do have a good idea of what's going to.
Can we get it like an outline?
I don't.
Generic
have
outline.
a line per se, on that. I mean, that would be, yeah, it's probably going to be.
I was just curious to see how many things we have to go through before we get there.
Yeah, it's
Quite a bit. You gotta follow, the process is so strong with IDM and they'll dictate when you
Well,
can
I
hook,
mean,
when you can't hook, how many.
As long as they're the ones saying, it's okay.
Yeah.
As long as he's not
We're
in,
good.
as long as he's in compliance, they won't say nothing. The moment he's out, and then they'll keep saying, they'll give him a chance to get caught up. And then if he can't make it, then they're gonna step in and say, okay, we need to do a review, and then we're gonna freeze it. But they'll give him a chance to make it up.
This town's seen that before.
Yes.
And Carmen,
Prefer not to do
Jesse,
that,
it may be good to maybe share maybe next month some preliminary figures.
Sure.
Since this conversation has reared its ugly head, so to speak.
Yeah.
To know what we're talking financially.
Yep.
It's a big number.
Just off the top of my head, I want to say originally the entire PER, which included the collection system and the plant upgrade, which it had a little bit of extra stuff in there, some fluff and whatnot. It was around 40 million.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it would be at least that.
And I'll say, so Jesse hired on June of 2021.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, correct. And indicated at that time, we have a problem. Waved the flag and said, we're gonna have a capacity problem in 2021. So to go to Brad's point, the longer we kick the cans down the road, that PER in 2023, the day of the tornado was.
Right. We were supposed to submit it like.
We did submit it, but then when we were looking at what the rate increase was going to be, it was going to be something exorbitant to the constituents. So now here we've waited 3 more years due to a bunch of different things. Council wasn't ready. I mean, I'm not putting it all on you. You know, we had the tornado to get kind of cleaned up. We were trying to kind of get our, you know, we just have had a lot of things, but like that is one thing that Jesse was waving the flag in 2021 when he hired on and said, what was approved by the previous superintendent should not have been approved by the development because we would have hit that capacity. So, you know, he's very well oiled in his the super's department. And so I trust everything he says. And, you know, we're gonna just keep pushing forward and making sure that, but we'll give you an update next month as far as, and that's where, so the whole part of updating the PER was to then double check the CCTV, which is what we're still finishing up, is to cammering the lines and that. So that was that add-on that we added to then be able to come back and say, okay, this is now the PER, what it looks like, and then be able to come back and say, this is what it's gonna cost. So we're getting that finalized. And then, so it's not that we haven't been working on trying to update this program with the PER and such. It's just, it was kind of like, okay, they recommended we do the CCTV, camera the lines, smoke test, all that. And so we're getting to that. We didn't have a lot of snow and rain until March.
Yeah.
So.
And it also brings us into compliance, Richard. You know, we had a violation for I&I anyway, so doing the wet weather, the smoke testing, all the CCTV work, that brings us into compliance with IDEM on that. And ideally, I'd like to continue doing that years in the future. Also, try to do 30% or so, give or take, every year, and kind of see what we've got going.
Because fixing your I&I is going to help out too.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's treating that rainwater and we're paying to treat rainwater. If we can catch some of that down the road, it's going to buy a little time, but you're right. It's something that someone's going to have to make a call because it's going to happen.
The rain last month, we went up, you know, over 3 million gallons for 2 days. You know?
Yeah, that's a lot of rainwater.
Compared to our average, it's probably 600,000.
Yeah, that's how much rainwater we're getting into. And we're paying to treat it all.
Yeah.
And send it back out to a creek. What's just rainwater anyway. So, I mean, that's why I was big on getting this infrastructure cameraed for we could start getting some of this I&I taken care of, which will actually relieve the sewer plant in the long run and help save cost.
I can't even mow my backyard. Gotta put a drain in.
Got 2 left, right? And I'll get you a
I gotta pay for a drain now.
I just got there. I won't say nothing about that.
I'll get you guys numbers and try to get some dates set up.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you. Steven, you have anything else, sir? No? Mr. Watson, back to you on the trucks.
On the trucks. First, I would say that as to the emergency, there is a definition for emergency. And emergency means a situation that could not reasonably be foreseen. It's actually 3 parts that have to be satisfied. Not reasonably foreseen, threatens the public health, welfare, or safety, and requires immediate action. I think it's hard to say that would be satisfied. So I don't think we can use that. And consequently, I would recommend that you special meeting.
I'm good with making a special meeting to make it happen as
Yeah.
quick as possible.
I think we
I'll
have-
come in.
Brad's kind of iffy, but we have 4 commit.
As long as you have 3.
Yeah, so we need 3, so we'll just do a
Mr.
special
Chairman.
meeting for that, if you can coordinate that, man.
I'm fine with them coming
Yeah.
in for a meeting. I mean,
For 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be quick. And then
waiver for that.
disclosure statements and waiver, do you want to do that, or did you have time?
I am prepared, yes, I'm prepared to do that. Definitely 3 categories. And first one falls in line with what we already talked about with Mr. Nartzer. Only this one, meaning to say it relates to the Summit Response Group LLC. And
What's his name? Who are you?
Bailey Gregory is this disclosure statement we're now talking about. And he is the VP of training for that company. And there's no contract, etc. So it's somewhat of a similar thing where it doesn't hurt to approve it. Everybody a heads up. But whenever there is an interest in contracting with them, I think they should submit a new one. It's specific to the new contract.
Okay.
The next one is from Byron Temple, who is on the Plan Commission and BZA. But he also owns a company that does auto repair, Professional Auto Care Center, which provides auto and maintenance and repair services to the town on an as-needed basis. He is the owner of that. And so he's filing his conflict of interest disclosure for that. Then we have, let's see. Two relatives, one their brothers, looks like. And it's Troy Edward McLean, who is a general laborer, and Todd H. Stogsel. I said they're general laborers, they're brothers. Why they're following these disclosures. As a legal matter, I don't think at this point that this type of disclosure is required for this type of circumstance. Just being, related does not require a conflict of interest disclosure. Doesn't hurt to approve them, but I don't think that in the future that they submitted. The third, although do sort of relate to third category, which is some fire personnel disclosures, and again, relatives. And this relates to the town and the state's nepotism policy or anti-nepotism policy, and it generally prohibits relatives from being in a direct line of supervision relationship. And we've dealt with that in the past at the town manager level and supervisor level. There is an exception under the state law, though, which is interesting, and it just caught it. That is volunteer firefighters. They are not subject to that rule.
Of course.
They're not volunteers.
Well, what's interesting is that
Where's your name?
the definition of volunteer firefighter
Right here.
is not really clear, and our salary ordinance, which I just looked at,
Oh, it's his sons.
Sons, yes.
their categories say, or their titles for those positions say volunteer firefighter. The only one that does not is, I think, the fire marshal.
He's special.
And presumably he must be a full-time. No, it does say part-time, but for whatever reason, it doesn't say volunteer. The other three positions, volunteer operations chief, the volunteer fire deputy, and the volunteer firefighters category, each of those positions include the word volunteer. So they do, receive some part-time, payments. That's relevant because there are, in particular,
Funkhauser.
3 Funkhauser family members. And the question would be, are they in a direct line of supervision
relationship. And I don't know.
No, so all of the firefighters report to Colin. And then Colin reports to Eric.
But Eric's the ultimate chief and he can tell them boys what to do. He is the ultimate boss of the whole fire department.
That's like saying somebody reports to Armando, not you, and so you're not their boss.
Right. That's to me.
I wouldn't necessarily consider that direct. I'm gonna pull up, we have a definition. Give me a second.
I don't know if that's really good.
Okay. This policy. Direct line of supervision means an elected officer or employee of the town who is in a position to affect the terms and conditions of another individual's employment, including making decisions about work assignments, compensation, grievances, advancement, or performance evaluation. The term does not include the responsibilities of the executive, the legislative body, or the fiscal body of the town to make decisions regarding salary ordinances, et cetera. That's pretty broad and doesn't necessarily mean that you're only one step above. But that still begs the question, if volunteer firefighters are exempt, then that may cover it. It may be a situation where you just want to review it and come back and decide whether it's acceptable or not. So forth. Now I would note that there's two ways I can say this. One, I'll start at the end, I guess. There is a very general statement in our policy that basically says it's intended to be the bare minimum required on the statute. However, under the terms that actually are expressed in the policy, it's a bit more restrictive than the statute. Consequently, I would recommend that ultimately it get updated and clarified. And here's why I say that. It includes a provision that says, on its face anyway, that you can't have relatives in the same department.
Right.
And obviously the fire department would be a single department, etc. But if you've got the exception for the volunteer firefighters, that kind of supersedes that question. Again, it gets back to, do you want to, further consider this issue and how to deal with it or not? From a conflict of interest disclosure standpoint, I don't think it is required that they file a disclosure in these circumstances. But it does bring up the question about the anti-nepotism.
Nepotism, yeah.
So that's something that
could we table these three
yeah.
to where you have further, I guess, conversation and research?
Well, or I don't know that there's a whole lot more research that I need to do. I think it's more of a policy issue.
Well, I was going to say, when you make this,
We're allowed to be more restrictive than the state statute.
Just can't be more lax.
And there's an ambiguity in that. Yes, one thing I could look into further is the definition of volunteer firefighter. And to what extent does that require that they be completely unpaid?
Well, IPEP considers them volunteer unless they put in how many hours?
Some of them put in over 100 hours for 2 weeks.
Yeah, they have to make over 20,000 a year, something like that. Which before was only fire marshal, chief, and a deputy chief. Those three were not considered through IPEP volunteer.
I don't feel comfortable following these right now. If I have to do it, I'm saying no, but I don't feel comfortable enough. He does, it gives me a definition of a volunteer and make sure that we're following it 100%, because bringing nepotism in there is a big thing, because, in the ultimate end of the day, he's the big boss. And they are related to him. And that's the thing that I would want to just make sure it's all taken care of legally, that we were all, none of us get in any violations for it.
Yeah, I don't think anything's gonna jeopardize at this point. If you could do some research on that
Volunteer.
that volunteer definition, and then if it gets to the point where we have to do some changes on our policy, then typically that's what you find is sometimes these things come up and you have to, look at your policies to make sure that we're compliant. So,
And that's all I ask.
yeah, I mean, is everybody okay with that on these three?
And
So
then
the last two,
last two that I have, are also firefighters. And we looked to, Scott David Hendershot,
They're family.
is related to Drake Scott Hendershot, who is a son, apparently.
Right.
Looks like these are independent of each other. So that would be one disclosure for just that relationship there.
but they don't report to each other, right?
And one influence the other's, compensation and duties and. Okay.
On the same shift. Just.
Okay.
All right. So there's that. And then we do have Scott, the Raker.
Yes.
Yeah, Scott Raker. And he also has some relatives, brother to Cole and Lindsay and son to Doug. And
Yeah, there's 4 Rakers.
I am the son of Doug and the brother of Cole and Lindsay and work under them at the fire department. So
He doesn't work.
Work under them means that they're
He doesn't,
boss.
he doesn't work
I
under them.
think it's a bad choice of words.
That's what it says, though.
Well, maybe he. wrote that
maybe
one.
it says
Under or with them?
actually, it's
Can't really-
more likely to say with.
Yeah,
They're all the same.
they're all the same rank, yeah.
They're on a different shift than we are.
They might boss him around, but
Yeah. They're all going.
So I think
Yeah.
those don't create direct line of supervision issue. And interpretation of our policy
good idea.
default to what state statute minimum requirement is, and all it restricts is direct line supervision. So I think it was I like the anti-7. The Funkhauser ones to deserve the further.
I agree.
So excluding the Funkhauser family, Eric Funkhauser and his 2 sons. Is it okay with the disclosure statements? Thing.
Yeah, and again, I don't think disclosure statements are actually required. It's more of a nepotism that's at issue. And I think it passes.
Okay. So do we need to have a motion to approve all these then? Or
Since they've submitted them, just for the record, probably best to go ahead. Motion to accept them.
okay. Have a motion on the table to accept the disclosure statements.
So moved.
So moved. Have a second?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Godecker, Deb Hendrickson,
Yes,
Joe Sikos,
Yes.
Richard Hill.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Watson.
You're welcome.
Any comments from the attending gallery? No? Any comments from
internet.
council?
Interweb.
Any comments from people online at all? Andy, anybody? Or Jenny, anybody? Nobody's raising their hand? Okay. That being said, we'll go ahead and adjourn.
I have a